Joel, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Who do your prospects really buy from? They ask about getting quotes. They put together a guideline of what they think their request for proposal is going to be. They go through sometimes what seems like theatrical BS. And then someone or a board of someone's makes a choice on who to hire. Who do they really hire?
A lot of cases, they hire the price that is the lowest. In many cases, because that board of directors that quote goes in front of doesn't understand everything that was talked about behind closed doors. Qualifying questions you need to ask up front is this truthfully what you're looking for? So when you have a client say, well, we're looking for a company that has this list of qualifications, whatever they are. Sometimes you have certification as a small business. Do you have a certification if you're a minority-owned company, woman-owned, disabled, veteran? So they look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Years ago, when that first became a designation, it was like they needed more people in a lot of these categories. Well, now there's so many businesses with these categories, it's almost pitted one against the other again, because you have 3 people that bid on it that have those categories or a variation of those categories, and it goes in front. Well, everybody has that now. So there's no differentiator.
So there are numerous businesses that meet those criteria.
Yes.
The question then is, how does the business owner in any 2 or 3 of those, and by that I mean outpace their like competitors?
It comes down to training and best practices. You can take a person you hire off the street, throw them into a job, and pray that they're going to do a good job. Or you can have someone you take in and show systems that are in place with the same or similar types of equipment, almost like an assembly line.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to buy a car, you're not buying it from somebody that picking up used parts and, stuff off the side of the road because of traffic accidents. Oh, I need a front bumper. Here's one. You're not going to buy a car from something like that.
Right.
You go to the automakers where they have systems in place. And even when you look at a car, I tell people often, you're looking for transportation, but what are you willing to pay for that transportation? You can buy a Yugo, which was a car that was being built when I went to college. That lasted about 2 years because it was made in an area that didn't understand the rust belt that I live in, and they rusted out. But it had a gas pedal and a brake, and it was great for a college student to get back and forth to college.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could buy an Aston Martin, which was a very expensive high-end car, and then there's everything in between. You want to look at things like, well, what's their safety program? Just like in a car, what's the safety program that's in place with a cleaning company? You don't ask the manufacturer how many training hours are put in, but you obviously get something that's built consistently because of the systems that are in place. How do you get that in a cleaning company? Ask for a current list of references so that they can check out, oh yeah, it's up and down, they have a great person that comes in, they leave, the quality drops. There's a lot of inconsistencies, but when you have training programs and you can drop another person in and that person succeeds and that there's a very little dip, that's important. These are your real differentiation pieces within companies. How are you doing it? Are you using state-of-the-art technology and vacuum cleaners? Again, what type of vacuum cleaner do you need is going to depend on the type of facility that you have and what its needs are. But if you're going to the corner store or one of the big box stores and buying something off the shelf that's designed for household, we have a podcast about that. They don't have the amps that are needed. They don't have the long cords that are needed. They don't have the filtration that's needed in today's day and age because with COVID, things changed, and now there's certain necessities in vacuum cleaners that need to be maintained.
So let's touch that briefly. And again, I say briefly regarding equipment. Brand new cleaning company who is just barely off the ground. I understand them grabbing an inexpensive household upright vacuum cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
If they have 1 or 2 tiny little accounts, but very quickly, that's going to show itself not to just be unproductive, but to be counterproductive because it's not going to have the longevity or the quality of clean. You've made that very clear.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a piece of equipment that's going to come and go, just like a true commercial backpack cleaner.
Correct.
Even that's going to have a lifespan. You're not necessarily paying for the vacuum cleaner as the customer. It sounds to me like you're paying for the time and the training that your cleaner as received. Am I understanding you?
That's part of it, but even on the equipment side, if we're going to talk about equipment for a moment, commercial equipment is built to last longer. When I started my own cleaning company 13 years ago, I bought a used backpack vacuum from one of the top companies in the commercial thing. It was 7 years old when I bought it. It was still very productive. Obviously, I didn't pay full price for it because it had 7 years life already used out of it. Guess what? 13 years later, I still have that vacuum cleaner. It still operates, and it's a backup emergency piece, but it still has a useful life for us. Even though it's not as effective and efficient as it once was, it's still there all these years later. You can't buy a household vacuum cleaner using it in a commercial setting and still have it 20 years later.
Agreed.
And even going with looking at something like mopping of floors. You can go with a mop and bucket. You can go with a flat mop system, whatever system, but a person having to do it. Or if you get a building that's larger and has wide halls and long halls or big open areas that you can run an auto scrubber, you're going to pay a little bit more for an auto scrubber. They're quite expensive, but what does it do? It cuts labor because you can do it so much faster. In a lot of cases, up to 10 times faster. So if you were going to spend 40 hours mopping a floor, now you're down to 4 hours mopping that floor because you're using an auto scrubber. Yes, you still have to do the detail mopping, corners, edges, alcoves, things like that, under door sweeps, but it's far less time now involved physically having to mop all these areas because you're using a bigger piece of equipment that is effective and efficient and is going to do a better job. Again, another podcast that we did on auto scrubber about the difference it makes in even the quality of the work.
Getting back to our original question, which is, who do they really hire? The prospects who are looking for cheap will always buy cheap.
Yes.
They will complain about cheap.
Yes.
And then they will rehire cheap until they realize how stupid it is to hire cheap.
Maybe not. I know prospects out there that still buy cheap regardless of how many companies they had or whatever. So it's trying to find the companies that you can persuade, and not in a bad way persuading. There is a difference, and this is why you should be hiring me.
Expound on that a little.
When you know your craft and know it well and can tell them the difference makers that you have, your competitive advantages, without trashing your competitors. Because that's the key. Too many people want to say, oh, company XYZ, company ABC, oh, they do this, they do that. No. What is it that makes you better? Why should that company hire you? Because if you reduce your turnover, there's a huge savings in that, because how costly is it to hire, even post, try to get enough applicants in, interview, maybe you have background checks, drug testing, whatever it is, all that stuff, the training program, there's all that cost that gets added onto the customer. You have somebody who's in for the long haul, that makes it a lot easier. That lowers your costs. And then there's the added benefits that you have consistency in your cleaning. And what happens when there's consistency in the cleaning? The clients win. The clients win because they have higher production rates in their own businesses, because people actually show up to work because the buildings are cleaner.
Less rework, fewer complaints, happier customers.
And happy customers do what? They tend to refer. And if they're a company that has multiple locations, that might be how you start growing, is you are now in 2 other locations, 3 other locations, 4, or hey, these companies have neighbors.
So to our listener, if you caught that, training, consistency, hiring well, maintaining staff, all the ways to grow. If you would like to know how to do that well, contact Joel. Joel, thank you.
You're welcome.